The stars stretched endlessly beyond the viewport of the Earthship horizon. Lieutenant Jake Miller stood at his station, watching the alien vessel approach through the darkness of space. His hands moved across the control panel with practiced ease, though his heart raced with excitement. Today would mark humanity's first official contact with the Zellerian species. Steady as she goes, Captain Laura Bennett commanded from her chair. Her voice carried the calm authority that had earned her this historic mission. All departments report status. Communications ready, Jake reported. Universal translator online and calibrated to Zellerian linguistic patterns. Weapons powered down as agreed, added Commander Rob Hayes from Tactical. Shields at minimal strength. We're showing them we come in peace. The Zellerian ship gleamed, like polished pearl in the starlight. It moved with an organic grace that Earth vessels couldn't match, its hull rippling with colors that shifted from deep blue to brilliant silver. As it drew closer, Jake could make out intricate patterns etched into its surface, perhaps decorative, perhaps functional. With aliens you never knew. "They're hailing us, Captain," Jake announced. "Video feed coming through now." The main screen flickered to life, revealing the bridge of the Zellerian vessel. Jake's breath caught in his throat. He'd studied the files, seen the images, but nothing had prepared him for the real thing. The aliens stood tall and impossibly thin, their bodies stretching 7 feet in height. Their skin shimmered with an inner light, shifting through subtle shades of blue and green like an aurora. Long arms ended in delicate hands with too many fingers, and their faces were angular, almost crystalline in structure. Most striking were their eyes, large, multifaceted orbs that seemed to see everything at once. The Zellerian in the center of the screen stepped forward. Like the others, it wore a flowing robe that draped from its shoulders to the floor, concealing its lower body completely. The fabric appeared to be woven from threads of light itself. "Greetings, humans of Earth," the alien spoke, its voice musical and layered, as if several beings talked in harmony. "I am Ambassador Vexilor of the Zellerian Collective. We come in peace and curiosity." Captain Bennett rose from her chair. "Ambassador Vexilor, I am Captain Laura Bennett of the Earthship Horizon. On behalf of humanity, we welcome you. This is a historic moment for both our species." "Indeed," Vexilor replied, inclining its elongated head. "We have observed your kind from afar. Your rapid technological advancement intrigues us. We wish to learn more about humanity. And we about you," Bennett said. "Shall we proceed with the docking procedures? My crew is eager to meet yours face to face." "Before we do," Vexilor raised a slender hand, "there is one matter of critical importance, a cultural boundary you must understand and respect." The bridge grew quiet. Jake felt tension creep into the air. First contact protocols stressed the importance of respecting alien customs no matter how strange they might seem. "Of course," Bennett replied carefully. "Please, tell us what we need to know." Vexilor's skin shifted to deeper blues, what their cultural briefing suggested might indicate seriousness or concern. "Among our people there is one question that must never be asked, one topic that is forbidden to discuss with outsiders." The ambassador paused, its multifaceted eyes seeming to focus on each human in turn. "Do not ask about our lower physiology. Do not inquire what lies beneath our robes. To do so is the gravest insult in our culture, punishable by immediate termination of all diplomatic relations." Jake exchanged glances with his crewmates. The request seemed odd but not unreasonable. Every species had its taboos. "We understand and will respect your wishes," Captain Bennett assured them. "I'll ensure all crew members are informed of this cultural boundary." "Your wisdom is appreciated." Vexilor's colors lightened slightly. "Now, let us proceed with this historic meeting." The docking procedure went smoothly. Jake watched the two ships align with mechanical precision, airlocks extending like hands reaching across the void. Within minutes, the connection was secure. "Captain," Security Chief Pete Jackson spoke up. "Standard protocol suggests a security sweep before—" "No weapons, no scans," Bennett cut him off. "We go in with respect and open hands, that's an order." Jake joined the diplomatic party in the airlock. Besides the captain, The group included Dr. Sam Cooper, their chief medical officer, and Lieutenant Commander Maya Patel, their xenobiologist. Jake carried a universal translator backup unit, though the ship's system should handle most of the work. The airlock cycled, and the inner door opened to reveal a corridor unlike anything on a human ship. The walls curved organically, pulsing, with soft bioluminescent light. The air smelled of ozone and something floral Jake couldn't identify. 3 Zalarians waited to greet them, Ambassador Vexilor in the center. Up close they were even more impressive. Jake noticed how they moved with fluid grace, their robes whispering against the floor. Not once did the fabric part to reveal what lay beneath. "Welcome aboard the Luminous Harmony," Vexilor said, gesturing, with those impossibly long fingers. "We are honored by your presence." "The honor is ours," Captain Bennett replied. "Your ship is magnificent." As they walked through the corridor, Jake observed everything with keen interest. The Zalarians seemed to glide rather than walk, their movements too smooth, too coordinated. Their robes must hide some unusual form of locomotion. "Tell me, Captain," Vexilor said as they entered a spacious meeting chamber, "what drives humanity's desire to explore the stars?" Bennett smiled. "Curiosity, mostly. The need to know what's out there, to meet new friends, to learn new things. And, you do not fear the unknown?" another Zalarian asked. This one's voice was higher, more melodious. "We respect it," Dr. Cooper answered. "But fear? No, the unknown is just something we haven't understood yet." The Zalarians' colors shifted in what Jake thought might be approval. As they settled into discussions about trade possibilities and cultural exchange, he couldn't help but wonder about their mysterious taboo. What could be so sensitive about their anatomy that even mentioning it would end diplomatic relations? But he kept his curiosity in check. Some questions were better left unasked. The beginning of a friendship between species was too important to risk over simple curiosity. As the meeting continued, Jake felt the weight of history on his shoulders. Whatever secrets the Zalarians kept, whatever lay hidden beneath those flowing robes, humanity would respect their wishes. After all, wasn't that what civilization was all about? Respecting others' boundaries, even when you didn't understand them. The first contact was going well, and that was all that mattered. 3 weeks had passed since first contact. The Joint Research Station orbited a gas giant, its metallic hull reflecting the planet's swirling orange clouds. Inside, humans and Zalarians worked side by side, though the cultural differences sometimes created awkward moments. Dr. Sam Cooper walked through the medical bay, checking supplies. His Zalarian counterpart, Zixara, glided beside him. Like all Zalarians, Zixara wore the flowing robe that never revealed what lay beneath. Sam had grown used to it, though. His medical training made him curious about alien physiology. "Your healing technology is fascinating," Zixara said, her voice like wind chimes. "Using targeted radiation to promote cell growth. Ingenious." "Thanks," Sam replied, "though I'd love to learn more about Zalarian medicine. Your people seem remarkably healthy." Zixara's skin shifted to a pale yellow. What Sam had learned indicated mild discomfort. "Our medical practices are different. We prefer not to discuss bodily matters with other species." "Of course," Sam said quickly. "I didn't mean to pry." In another section of the station, Ensign Amy Park fine-tuned the communication array alongside Krelix, a young Zalarian scientist. They'd developed an easy friendship over the weeks, bonding over their shared love of xenolinguistics. "Your language has 127 ways to say hello," Amy marveled. "Each one carries different emotional weight." Krelix's colors brightened with amusement. "And human English uses tone and context to change meaning. Fascinating how different minds find different solutions." Amy hesitated, then asked carefully, "Krelix, can I ask you something personal?" "Not about, you know, the forbidden topic. Just about your culture in general." "You may ask," Krelix replied, though his colors dimmed slightly with caution. "Why is it such a taboo? I mean, every culture has private matters, But to end diplomatic relations over a question seems extreme. Krelix was quiet for a long moment. His skin rippled through several colors before settling on deep purple. It is not merely privacy, Amy. It is survival. Long ago, our people learned that some knowledge is too dangerous to share. Some secrets must be kept, even from friends. Before Amy could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. In the command center, Captain Bennett arrived to find chaos. "Report, hull breach in Section 7, Lieutenant Jake Miller called out. "Looks like a micrometeor strike, automated. Systems are responding, but we have personnel trapped in that section." "Who's in there?" Bennett demanded. "3 humans, 2 Zolarians," Jake replied, fingers flying over his console. "The breach compromised the corridor. They're cut off. Get emergency teams down there now." Engineer Dan Foster was already in Section 7 when the meteorite hit. The impact threw him against a wall, his ears ringing from the sudden decompression alarm. Through the smoke and debris, he saw Ambassador Vexlor struggling to stand. "Are you hurt?" Dan shouted over the alarms. "Minor damage," Vexlor replied, his usually melodious voice strained. "But the others?" Dan looked around. 2 human technicians lay unconscious near a damaged console. A young Zolarian, Dan thought her name was Trixme, was pinned under a fallen support beam. "Help me get this off her," Dan said, rushing to the beam. Together they strained against the metal. Dan noticed something odd. Despite Vexlor's thin appearance, the alien possessed surprising strength. The beam shifted slightly, but not enough. "The breach is widening," Vexlor observed. His skin had turned deep red with effort. "We have minutes before this section loses all atmosphere." Dan's engineering training kicked in. "There's an emergency seal kit in that locker, if we can patch the breach." A groaning sound filled the air. The floor tilted as another section of hull gave way. Vexlor lost his balance, and Dan watched in horror as the ambassador's robe caught on twisted metal. The fabric tore with a sound like screaming silk. "No!" Vexlor cried out, immediately trying to cover himself. But Dan had already seen. For just a moment he glimpsed what lay beneath the robe. Instead of legs, Vexlor possessed a complex structure of crystalline segments that sparked with electric blue energy. It was beautiful and terrifying at once. Dan forced himself to look away. "I saw nothing," he said firmly. "Now help me save these people." Vexlor stared at him, colors shifting rapidly across his skin. Fear, shame, and something else Dan couldn't identify. Then the alien straightened, dignity returning to his bearing. "You are unexpected human. Very well. Let us work." Together, they managed to free Trixme and drag the unconscious humans to safety. Dan worked frantically to patch the hull breach while Vexlor used the station's emergency force field projectors to buy them time. When the rescue team finally cut through the blocked corridor, they found all 5 survivors alive. Dan made no mention of what he'd seen, even in his official report. Later, in the medical bay, Sam treated the wounded. Trixme had suffered internal injuries that required surgery, presenting him with an impossible dilemma. "I need to examine her properly," Sam told Zixara. "But I can't do that without violating our deepest taboo," Zixara finished. Her colors swirled with distress. "Dr. Cooper, you must understand. This prohibition exists for reasons beyond mere custom." "Then she might die," Sam said bluntly. "Is your taboo worth a life?" Ambassador Vexlor entered the medical bay, his robe repaired but his dignity still shaken. He looked at Sam, then at the injured Trixme. "There is another way," Vexlor said slowly. "Our own medical techniques, but they require trust. Complete trust between our species." Sam met the ambassador's multifaceted gaze. "You have it. Tell me what to do." Over the next hours, Sam learned to work with Zolarian healing songs, complex harmonics that somehow accelerated cellular repair. He never saw beneath Trixme's robe, but he saved her life. That evening, Amy found Krelix in the observation lounge, staring out at the stars. "I heard about today," she said softly. "The accident, the rescue." "Your people showed great courage," Krelix replied, "and greater wisdom. The human engineer. He saw but did not speak. The doctor. He healed but did not pry. Perhaps we have misjudged your species. We're just trying to be good neighbors, Amy said. Krelix's colors warmed. Sometimes the best neighbors are those who know when not to look over the fence. As the station slowly returned to normal, something had changed between the two species. The humans had proven they could be trusted with proximity to dangerous secrets, and the Zolarians had begun to believe that perhaps someday those secrets might be shared. But that day had not yet come, and somewhere in deep space, other eyes watched the growing friendship with hungry interest. The attack came without warning. One moment the joint research station hummed with peaceful activity. The next, alarms screamed as unknown vessels dropped out of hyperspace, weapons already firing. Lieutenant Jake Miller was at his post when the first blast hit. The station shuddered, throwing him against his console. Through the viewport he saw 3 ships unlike anything in the databases, dark, angular vessels that moved like predators. Battle stations. Captain Bennett's voice rang out. All hands to combat positions. The raiders struck with surgical precision. Their weapons targeted specific sections of the station, the Zolarian quarters, the joint research labs, anywhere the two species worked together. In engineering, Dan Foster fought to keep the shields up. Beside him, Ambassador Vexilor worked, the Zolarian systems with desperate efficiency. The alien's skin had turned deep crimson, a color Dan had learned meant extreme stress. They're targeting our people specifically, Vexilor said, his musical voice tight with fear. They know we're here. Who are they? Dan asked, rerouting power from damaged systems. Hunters, Vexilor whispered, and his colors shifted to black. After all these centuries, they've found us again. Another blast rocked the station. A support beam crashed down, pinning Dan's leg. He cried out in pain as metal crushed against bone. Dan! Amy Park appeared through the smoke, Krelix beside her. Together with Vexilor, they lifted the beam. My leg's broken, Dan gasped. Can't move. The engineering section is collapsing, Krelix observed. We must evacuate. But Vexilor shook his head. If we leave, the shields fail. The station dies. He looked at the others, his colors swirling with determination. There is another way. But it will reveal everything. Ambassador, no. Krelix protested. The law forbid. The law was made for survival. Vexilor cut him off. Now survival demands we break it. The deck lurched as another blast hit home. In the distance, Dan heard the terrible sound of hull breach alarms. Vexilor stood tall despite the chaos. With deliberate movements, he removed his flowing robe. Dan stared in amazement at what was revealed. Instead of legs, Vexilor possessed a lower body of living crystal that pulsed with internal light. Geometric segments flowed seamlessly into each other, each one containing what looked like miniature lightning storms. The structure branched into multiple appendages that gripped the floor with electromagnetic force. We are not what we appear, Vexilor said simply. We are living weapons, forged by evolution and refined by necessity. The ambassador placed his hands on the main power console. The crystal segments of his lower body began to glow brighter, energy coursing through patterns Dan couldn't begin to understand. What are you doing? Amy asked. What our species was born to do, Vexilor replied. Channel energy, manipulate electromagnetic fields, protect. The station's shields suddenly blazed with new strength. The next raider blast bounced harmlessly off the reinforced barrier. But Dan saw the cost. Vexilor's colors were fading, his crystal structure dimming. It's killing you, Dan realized. Yes, Vexilor agreed calmly. This level of output damages our crystalline matrix, but better one life than all. Not just one, Krelix said. The young Zolarian shed his own robe, revealing a similar but smaller crystal structure. I won't let you bear this alone. The raiders, Amy said urgently. They're charging something big. Look at the energy readings. Through the viewport, they could see the lead raider ship glowing with accumulated power. Whatever weapon they were preparing would overwhelm even the enhanced shields. "We need more power," Dan said, his engineering instincts kicking in despite the pain. "The station's reactor can't support this level of shield strength." "Then we become the reactor," another voice said. Zixara entered engineering, followed by the other Zilarians from the station. One by one, they removed their robes, revealing the truth they'd hidden for so long. "You don't have to do this," Captain Bennett's voice came over the comm. "We'll find another way." "There is no other way," Vexlor replied. "But perhaps there is a better way." He looked at Dan. "Your people understand energy systems. Can you help us create a connection? Not just Zilarian power, but human ingenuity?" Dan's mind raced. The shield harmonics. "If we could synchronize them with your energy patterns." "Do it," Bennett ordered. "Whatever you need." Working frantically, Dan guided the human crew through modifications to the shield generators. The Zilarians formed a circle, their crystal, structures linking in a complex pattern. Energy flowed between them, building to levels that made the air itself sing. "Now," Dan shouted. The Raiders fired their superweapon, a beam of tortured spacetime that could crack moons. It struck the station's shields and stopped cold. The barrier held, powered by Zilarian biology and shaped by human engineering. "Impossible," Jake whispered from the command center. "Those readings can't be right." But they were. The combined human-Zilarian defense had created something entirely new, a shield that didn't just block energy but absorbed and redirected it. The feedback, pulse traveled back along the beam to its source. The lead Raider ship imploded, crushed by its own weapon. The other two vessels, seeing their flagship destroyed, fled into hyperspace. In engineering, the Zilarians released their link. Several collapsed, their crystal structures flickering weakly. Dr. Sam Cooper rushed in with the medical team but stopped short when he saw the aliens in their true forms. "How do we help them?" he asked Vexler. The ambassador, barely maintaining consciousness, managed a gentle pulse of color. "You already have, by seeing us as we are and not turning away." As the medical teams worked to save the exhausted Zilarians, Dan looked around at his human crewmates. No one showed disgust or fear, only concern for their allies and amazement at what they'd witnessed. "They trusted us with their greatest secret," Amy said quietly. "And we proved worthy of that trust," Krelix added, his colors warming despite his exhaustion. The attack was over, but everything had changed. The secret was out. The ancient hunters had found the Zilarians again, and humanity had chosen its side in a conflict older than recorded history. But looking at the two species working together to save lives, Dan felt hope. Whatever came next, humans and Zilarians would face it together. The barrier of secrets had fallen, replaced by something stronger, true understanding. The medical bay had been transformed into a recovery ward for the exhausted Zilarians. Dr. Sam Cooper moved between the beds, monitoring vital signs he was only beginning to understand. The crystalline lower bodies of his patients pulsed with weak light like dying stars. Ambassador Vexlor lay in the central bed, his colors muted to pale pastels. Captain Laura Bennett sat beside him, waiting patiently for him to regain enough strength to speak. "The others?" Vexlor's voice was barely a whisper. "All alive," Sam reported. "Thanks to you. Though I'll admit, I'm learning your physiology as I go." Vexlor managed what might have been a smile. "For countless generations we have hidden this truth. Now you see why." "Those raiders," Bennett said. "They knew exactly what to look for." "Who were they?" "Descendants of our ancient nightmare," Vexlor replied. His skin darkened with painful memory. "To understand, you must know our history. The real history we've hidden from the galaxy." Lieutenant Jake Miller entered quietly, followed by Amy Park and Dan Foster, who limped on a healing leg brace. They gathered around Vexler's bed as the ambassador began his tale. "Millions of years ago, our species evolved on a world rich in crystalline formations and electromagnetic fields. We developed not just to survive there, but to thrive. Our lower bodies became living capacitors, able to channel and manipulate energy in ways that seemed impossible. Vexler paused, gathering strength. Krelix from a nearby bed continued the story. We were peaceful, using our abilities to build a harmonious civilization. But when we ventured into space, we encountered other species. Most were friendly, but some saw us as resources to be harvested. The Harvesters, Vexler said, the name itself seeming to pain him. They discovered that our crystalline structures could be extracted and weaponized. A single Zellarian crystal matrix could power a battleship for centuries. We became the most valuable commodity in the galaxy. Amy gasped softly. They hunted you. Worse, Zixara spoke from her bed. They farmed us. Entire worlds of our people were enslaved, bred for larger crystal yields, harvested like crops. Those who escaped went into hiding, developing the robes, the taboo, the culture of secrecy that kept us safe. Captain Bennett's face hardened. These raiders today, they're the same harvesters? They're descendants, Vexelor confirmed. The original Harvester Empire fell long ago, but scattered groups survived. They've searched for us ever since, following rumors, chasing shadows, and now they've found us again. Why didn't you tell us? Dan asked. We could have helped protect you. How could we? Vexelor replied sadly. Every species we've trusted before either turned us over to the Harvesters for profit or tried to use us themselves. We learned that survival meant secrecy. But you trusted us today, Jake pointed out. You revealed everything to save the station. Because you had already proven yourselves, Vexler said, looking at Dan. When you saw beneath my robe during the accident, you kept silent. When our people needed healing, you helped without demanding to see what we hid. You showed respect without understanding why. That is, unprecedented. Dr. Cooper studied his medical readings. Your energy output during the battle was off the charts. How many of your people can generate that kind of power? All of us, to varying degrees, Vexler answered. But as you saw, extreme use damages our crystal matrix. It's a defense mechanism, of last resort. The raiders will be back, Bennett stated. It wasn't a question. They know you're here now, they'll bring more ships. Yes, Vexler agreed grimly. We should leave. We've brought danger to your door. Like hell, Dan said firmly. You're not going anywhere. The engineer speaks truth, Bennett added. Earth doesn't abandon its allies. If these harvesters want you, they go through us first. The Zellarian's colors shifted, and what Jake had learned was surprise and deep emotion. You would risk war with the harvesters for us? Krelix asked. We already chose our side when we helped you fight them off, Amy said. Besides, anyone who enslaves and harvests sentient beings isn't someone we'd want as friends anyway. Captain. Bennett activated her communicator. Bennett to Earth Command, Priority Alpha transmission. We have a situation that requires immediate attention. Over the next hours, as the Zellarians recovered, Bennett briefed Earth's leadership on everything they'd learned. The response was swift and unanimous. Humanity would stand with the Zellarians. We're mobilizing the fleet, Admiral Chen's voice came through the comm. The harvesters want a fight, they'll get one. But Vexler raised a trembling hand. There is another way, better than endless war. He looked at Sam. Dr. Cooper, your scans of our crystalline structure. What did they tell you? Sam pulled up his data. The energy patterns are incredibly complex, but there's something interesting. The damage from overuse seems reversible. With the right treatment, your crystal matrix could not only heal, but potentially grow stronger. Exactly, Vexler said. For millennia, we've hidden our nature, never developing our abilities beyond survival needs. But what if we could enhance them? What if instead of being victims, we became protectors? A joint defense force, Bennett realized. Human technology and tactics combined with Zellarian energy manipulation. More than that, Vexelor's colors brightened with hope. We could create shields that protect entire worlds, power systems that make harvester weapons obsolete, turn their hunger for our power into their greatest weakness. Jake worked his console, running simulations. It could work. If we integrate Zellarian energy matrices with our shield generators on a large scale, The harvesters would face something they've never encountered. Dan finished. Zolarians who aren't hiding, aren't running, but standing proud with allies who see them as equals, not resources. You would share your military technology with us? Zixara asked in wonder. If you share your abilities with us, Bennett replied. Not to exploit, but to protect. Both our peoples and any others the harvesters might threaten. As the Zolarians exchanged glowing pulses of color, discussing in their own language, Amy moved to stand beside Krelix's bed. This is bigger than just our two species, isn't it? She said softly. Krelix's colors warmed as he looked at her. Yes, for the first time in our history, we have allies who see our power as something to be protected, not possessed. It changes everything. Vexler struggled to sit up, his crystal segments flickering with renewed energy. Then we are agreed. No more hiding. No more secrets between us. The Zolarian Collective formally requests an alliance with Earth. Together, we'll face whatever comes. Captain Bennett smiled and extended her hand. Ambassador Vexelor, on behalf of humanity, I accept. Let's show the galaxy what happens when trust replaces fear. As human hand met Zolarian fingers, both species felt the weight of history shifting. The ancient game of hunter and prey was about to change forever. 6 months had passed since the alliance between Earth and the Zolarian Collective. The joint research station had grown into a sprawling complex, with new sections added to accommodate the influx of scientists and military personnel from both species. Lieutenant Jake Miller stood on the observation deck of the Fortress Station Harmony Shield, watching the fleet gather. Dozens of human warships floated alongside elegant Zolarian vessels, their combined might a testament to what trust could build. Impressive sight, a familiar voice said. Jake turned to see Krelix approaching, no longer wearing the concealing robe. The young Zolarian's crystalline lower body sparkled with confidence. Still getting used to seeing everyone without robes, Jake admitted with a smile. We're still getting used to not wearing them, Krelix replied, his colors warm with amusement. Freedom takes adjustment after so long in hiding. Amy Park joined them carrying a datapad. Final integration tests are complete. The hybrid shield systems are performing beyond our best projections. The new technology was remarkable. Human shield generators powered by Zolarian energy matrices created barriers that could withstand forces that would have been unthinkable months ago. But more than that, the Zolarians had learned to push their abilities further than they'd ever dared before. The harvesters won't know what hit them, Jake said. As if summoned by his words, alarms began to sound. Hyperspace signatures. Detected, the station's AI announced. Multiple contacts incoming. Configuration matches harvester fleet profile. Jake rushed to his battle station, Krelix and Amy close behind. The command center buzzed with activity as Captain Bennett coordinated the defense. How many? Bennett asked. 40 ships, Jake reported. They brought everything they had. Through the viewports, space twisted as the harvester fleet emerged. Their ships were nightmares of black metal and cruel angles, designed to inspire fear. The lead vessel was massive, a factory ship built to process captured Zolarians. Attention, human vessels, a harsh voice broadcast across all channels. You harbor stolen property. Surrender the Zolarians and we will spare your world. Ambassador Vexelor, now serving as Joint Fleet Commander alongside Admiral Chen, responded calmly. We are not property. We are free beings, allied with humanity, by choice. You are the thieves here, harvesters. Leave now or face the consequences. The harvester's laugh was ugly. You think your new pets can protect you, crystal slaves? We've hunted your kind for millennia. We know your weaknesses. You knew our weaknesses, Dr. Sam Cooper interjected from the medical command center. Past tense. The first wave of harvester ships attacked. Energy weapons that had shattered civilizations lanced toward the Allied fleet, but instead of hitting traditional shields, they struck the hybrid barriers. The shields didn't just block the attacks. They absorbed them, channeled them, and sent them spiraling back toward their sources. 2 harvester ships exploded from their own redirected fire. Impossible, the harvester commander snarled. That's just the beginning, Dan Foster announced from engineering. He stood at a unique console, one that merged human and Zalarian technology. Beside him, Zixara worked in perfect synchronization. The Allied fleet moved with precision. Human tactical doctrine combined with Zalarian energy manipulation created a fighting style the Harvesters had never encountered. Ships seemed to teleport short distances as Zalarians bent electromagnetic fields. Human weapons fired with accuracy boosted by Zalarian sensing abilities. But the Harvesters had come prepared. Their factory ship launched specialized drones, hunter units designed specifically to capture Zalarians. The drones swarmed toward the station, their hulls crackling with suppression fields meant to neutralize crystal matrices. "Those will shut down our people's abilities," Vexler warned. "Not if we shut them down first," Lieutenant Commander Maya Patel replied. She led a squadron of human fighters directly at the drones, but instead of attacking, the fighters deployed a new weapon, the Harmony Web. Threads of energy linked fighter to fighter, creating a net of pure electromagnetic force. Zalarian crew members on each fighter powered the web, while human pilots controlled its movement. The drones hit the web and shorted out instantly, their suppression fields overwhelmed. By the combined human-Zalarian defense, the battle raged on. For every Harvester trick, the Allies had an answer. When the enemy tried to board ships, they found Marines equipped with armor that channeled Zalarian energy into protective fields. When they attempted to jam communications, the combination of human quantum encryption and a Zalarian harmonic transmission cut through the interference. Then the Harvesters played their final card. The factory ship's core began to glow with ominous red light. "They're overloading their main reactor," Jake reported. "If that goes critical, it'll crack this moon in half," Dan finished. "They'd rather destroy everything than lose." Captain Bennett's voice was steel. "All ships clear the blast radius. We'll have to—" "No," Vexler interrupted. His colors blazed with determination. "There is another way. All Zalarians, link with me. Humans, prepare for something unprecedented. Across the fleet, every Zalarian connected their energy fields. The combined power was staggering, but they didn't direct it at the enemy. Instead, they reached out to their human allies. "Open your minds," Krellick said to Amy. "Trust us as we trust you." Amy felt it first. A warmth, a connection unlike anything she'd experienced. Suddenly, she could sense the electromagnetic fields around her, could feel the flow of energy through the ship's systems. "We're sharing it with you," Krellick explained, his voice somehow inside her mind. "Our gift, given freely." All across the fleet, humans and Zalarians joined in true unity. The boundary between the species blurred as they shared not just technology, but consciousness itself. Together they reached out to the overloading reactor. Human precision guided Zalarian power. The unstable energy was caught, contained, and carefully dispersed into harmless radiation. The factory ship went dark, its threat neutralized. "Surrender," Admiral Chen commanded. "You've lost." One by one, the remaining Harvester ships powered down their weapons. The ancient threat was broken, not by violence alone, but by the unity of two species who had chosen trust over fear. In the aftermath, as prisoners were taken and ships secured, Ambassador Vexler addressed a joint session of human and Zalarian leadership. "For generations we asked others not to inquire about what lay between our legs," he said, his colors shifting through proud patterns. "We hid in shame and fear. But humanity showed us something new. You respected our boundaries without understanding them. You protected us without possessing us. And when the time came, you fought beside us as equals." He looked directly at the human delegation. "You dared to see us as we truly are, and embraced us anyway. In this you have earned not just our trust but our eternal friendship." Captain Bennett stood and smiled. "The feeling is mutual, Ambassador. Today we didn't just win a battle. We forged a bond that will reshape the galaxy." As the two species celebrated their victory, Jake found himself thinking about that first meeting months ago. The Zalarians had warned humans not to ask about their hidden nature. But humanity had done something better. They had waited until that nature was freely revealed. then accepted it with open arms. Sometimes the greatest daring isn't in asking forbidden questions, but in respecting others enough to let them share their truths in their own time. The stars shone brighter that day, witnessing the birth of an alliance that would bring peace to dozens of worlds, and hope to species still hiding in fear. The age of the harvesters was over, the age of unity had begun,